If you grew up before the 1980s, this video might feel like opening an old box of memories. Some of these things were small, some were ordinary, and back then nobody thought they would disappear. But years later, one image, one sound, or even one smell can bring back an entire childhood. So as you watch, keep count. If you remember more than 7 of these, you are definitely part of a generation that lived through a very different America. Welcome to Old America Memories. Today, we're looking back at 10 everyday things only people who grew up before the 1980s truly remember. Number 1. Saturday morning cartoons. Before streaming, before tablets, and before cartoons were available anytime, Saturday morning felt special. Kids did not just watch cartoons. They waited for them. You woke up early, poured a bowl of cereal, sat close to the television, and hoped nobody changed the channel. There was no pause button, no rewind, no watching later. If you missed the show, you simply missed it. That made Saturday morning feel like an event. The cereal bowl, the living room carpet, the glowing television screen. For many people, that was the sound and feeling of childhood. Number 2, metal lunchboxes. Before soft lunch bags and plastic containers became common, many kids carried metal lunchboxes to school. They were colorful, noisy, and often covered with favorite cartoons, westerns, superheroes, or television characters. Inside, there might be a sandwich wrapped in wax paper, a piece of fruit, a small treat, and maybe a thermos. At lunchtime, the cafeteria was full of clanking metal boxes opening and closing. That sound alone can bring back a school memory. Today, those old lunchboxes are collector's items. But back then, they were just part of an ordinary school day. Number 3, TV antennas. There was a time when getting a clear television picture took real effort. Someone had to adjust the antenna, turn the dial, move across the room, and sometimes stand in just the right spot. The picture might roll. The sound might crackle. The screen might fill with static. And somehow, everyone in the house believed the person holding the antenna had a magical power. Before cable and streaming, watching television required patience. A clear picture felt like a small victory. And if you remember yelling, "Don't move!" at the person near the TV, this one probably brought back a memory. Number 4, waiting for the mailman. Before email, tracking numbers, and instant messages, the mailbox had a different kind of importance. People waited for letters, birthday cards, postcards, catalogs, bills, photographs, and handwritten notes. The sound of the mail truck stopping outside could make someone walk to the window. There was a small excitement in opening the mailbox and seeing what had arrived. Not everything was important, but sometimes one envelope could change the whole day. The mailbox was not just a box. It was a little moment of possibility. Number 5, school milk cartons. Many people remember the little milk cartons at school lunch. They sat on cafeteria trays next to sandwiches, hot meals, fruit cups, and whatever the school was serving that day. Sometimes the milk was cold. Sometimes it was not cold enough. Sometimes the carton was hard to open without spilling. And almost everyone had their own little way of trying to open it neatly. For generations of American kids, that small carton was part of the school day. It is one of those tiny details people forget for years, until a picture brings it all back at once. Number 6, drive-in theaters. There was a time when going to the movies did not always mean sitting inside a theater. Families and teenagers went to drive-in theaters, parked the car, and watched the movie under the night sky. Some people remember the speaker hanging on the car window. Others remember blankets, popcorn, soda, and kids falling asleep in the back seat before the movie ended. The picture was not always perfect. The sound was not always clear, but the experience felt unforgettable. It was not just about the movie. It was about the night air, the car seats, the glowing screen, and being together. Number 7, 5 and dime stores. Before big box stores and online shopping, many towns had 5 and dime stores. They were the kind of places where a child could walk in with a few coins and still feel rich. There were candy counters, small toys, sewing supplies, school items, greeting cards, and household goods. The aisles were simple, but full of discovery. You might not buy much, but you always looked around. For many Americans, those stores were not just places to buy things. They were part of Main Street, And once they disappeared, Main Street never felt quite the same. Number 8. Record players. Before playlists and digital music, music had weight. You held the record in your hands, pulled it from the sleeve, placed it carefully on the turntable, and lowered the needle. There was a small crackle before the song began. That crackle was part of the experience. Albums were not just background noise. People looked at the cover art, read the liner notes, and listened from beginning to end. A record player made music feel slower, more physical, and more personal. You did not just play a song. You made time for it. Number 9. Handwritten recipe cards. In many homes, family recipes were not saved on a phone or a website. They were written on index cards, tucked into a small box, stained with flour, butter, or years of use. Some cards had careful handwriting. Others had quick notes from a mother, grandmother, aunt, or neighbor. The recipes were not always exact. Pinch of this, a little of that, bake until it looks right. Those cards carried more than instructions. They carried family history, and sometimes seeing the handwriting mattered as much as the recipe itself. Number 10. Sitting on the front porch. There was a time when the front porch was more than decoration. People sat outside in the evening, watched cars pass, talked with neighbors, listened to crickets, and let the day slow down. Children played nearby. Adults waved at people walking by. Sometimes nothing important happened, and that was the point. Before everyone disappeared behind screens and closed doors, the porch was a place between home and the neighborhood, a quiet place to belong. Looking back, these things may seem small. Cartoons, lunchboxes, antennas, mailboxes, milk cartons, records, recipe cards, and front porches. But memory often lives in small details. These were the sounds, objects, routines, and places that shaped everyday life before the world became instant. Now be honest. How many of these did you remember? And which one brought back the strongest memory for you? Share your memory in the comments. Thank you for watching Old America Memories. If you enjoy warm stories from the past, subscribe for more memories of the way America used to feel.